To paraphrase Hunter S. Thompson, when you get locked into a serious beer collection, the tendency is to push it as far as you can.
Cheers.
Son of a bitch! Give me a drink! One more night! On this cramping thing! Son of a bitch! If I drink it clean, I'm gonna drink my life away.
We're here today at home in Milwaukee with a very special episode of the Tap Takeover Podcast. We're sitting down at the Sugar Maple Bar in Bayview to talk with the Milwaukee Chapter of Girls Pint Out, a national community of women who love craft beer. We are fortunate today on May 4th to be speaking with Maggie Skinner, president of Girls Pint Out here in Milwaukee, and Kelly Euler, a member and drinker, actually January member of the month for Girls Pint Out as well. Ladies, may the 4th be with you.
And with you.
And with you.
Happy Cinco de Cuatro.
We call it Cinco de Drinko.
So let's start at the beginning for our listeners. What exactly is Girls Pint Out? What sort of organization are you guys running?
Girls Pint Out as a whole is a national nonprofit organization that supports women liking craft beer, learning about craft beer, maybe wanting to get into the industry, just kind of centered about liking beer, learning, and really having fun with it. We reach out as a whole to women in the community and who maybe feel a little beer shamed or can't get over the blue moon hump and want to try something different. So we welcome them with open arms.
And how did you get involved with Girls Pint Out?
So I found it actually on Facebook. There was an article about Girls Pint Out on real women like craft beer. I had just left a really abusive relationship and I was looking for what am I interested in? What am I going to do? And I found this article and I read about it. I was like, well, that sounds fun. Let's do that. Well, there wasn't a chapter in Wisconsin at all. And so I messaged and I was like, hey, how do we do this? How do we get this in our state? Do you just show up or what happens? She goes, no, you can start the chapter. And I was like, no. How do can somebody else do it? And I'll just join. And I got enough guts and did it myself. So.
And how long has it been around, the Milwaukee Chapter?
A little over 2 years. So I founded it February 22nd, and we had our first meeting by March 20th, actually at the Best Place. And from then, it's just been kind of a whirlwind. So,
How many members are you guys up to currently?
So we don't have membership fees, so we don't really count our members, but we have 1,300 plus likes on Facebook and over a 500 plus mailing list. I would consider that pretty successful.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
I mean, if you minus one for my mom, who likes the page. Thanks, Mom.
Well, actually, she likes craft beer.
She's a total beer nerd, so it's very legit.
Now, Kelly, can you tell us about how you became the member of the month? What did that take?
How much
beer did you drink?
So it's not about member of the month. It's not like you have to come to a certain amount of meetings. You don't have to volunteer a whole bunch within Girls Pint Out. It's just somebody that I see regularly, and it was actually the first one that I did. I got inspired by our Grand Rapids chapter who does it, and I really wanted to honor the women who are passionate about beer and introduce them to other women in the chapter who maybe were sidelining it, I haven't come to a meeting, I don't know who's in it. These are everyday women. You have a job, you have a boyfriend, you have a whole life outside of liking beer and coming to Girls Pint Out, but you come to Girls Pint Out every time. You're always so welcoming to other women, and we're friends.
There you go.
We're friends. So.
Inside track.
I'm you don't always have to be friends with me, but I just started there because I didn't know where else to start, and I knew that she had been a longtime Girls Pint Out member because actually you came from Texas, the Texas chapter, and so I just knew you loved it from the beginning.
See, so she said it way better than I could.
Sorry. I guess
So
question was addressed.
if someone's interested in becoming a member of Girls Pint Out, how can they do that?
You literally like our Facebook page. That's it. I'll run Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I have a monthly newsletter. I really don't have more time to spam anybody. I barely have time to do the monthly newsletter, which actually still have to get out for May.
You have a whole month.
Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, we send out monthly newsletters. You just come and join the events as it works with your schedule. If there is a fee, pay that fee. If there isn't, just come hang out. Pay for your own beer. We don't need anything more or anything less from you. It's just come and hang out and learn about beer and hang out with other really cool women who like beer.
That's awesome. So how many events do you do a month? I know I saw you have a field trip planned for next week, I think, right?
Yeah, so that was quite the undertaking. We have about 2 meetings a month. We do one major event and then one actual meeting where we meet and greet. I tell them the updates, talk about members of the month. I just kind of explain hey, if you're new, this is what happens. Here's what we're getting. We go on tours with the brewery. But we do have a field trip coming up on Saturday with Central Waters and Oso. So we're going to take a party bus up there. We're actually including the other 2 chapters that I've started since I've started the Milwaukee chapter. So Oshkosh and Madison. And then the girls are coming down from our Minnesota chapter to join us. So it should be a really fun group.
That's awesome. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be.
So what was the introduction to just craft beer in general? Was there a specific beer style that made you just want to say, I want to be involved more in this? I want more.
So I lived in Indiana for a very long time. And even though I was a true born Wisconsinite, I didn't fully realize that other states didn't have a new Glarus. So when I didn't have it, I was like, why don't you have this? Where you guys don't have good beer? So I started out with the 312 before Goose Island got bought out. It's still good. And that's what I liked. That's what I drank in Indiana. I mean, otherwise it was that or they have Rolling Rock, for God's sake. And now there are breweries, craft breweries in Indiana that are still very questionable. I'm just kidding. There are some good ones. But where I was...
In Indiana?
Yeah. In Indiana, yeah.
I'd say there's this little brewery called Three Floyds that's doing some pretty good stuff.
That's okay. They're all right. But I'm just saying, I was in Lafayette. So in Lafayette, in Purdue Country, about an hour west of Indy, there wasn't really much of anything. And though you could get to Three Floyds, it's not something you want to drive up there, drink a whole bunch, and drive home. That's not a thing. Though Wisconsinites know how to drive.
Well, it'd be, for people in Milwaukee, it'd be driving to Central Waters and getting some really heavy stouts and then trying to drive home.
Let's drink black and gold all day. Was it black gold? Black and gold? Either way, let's drink heavy all day and then drive home.
Yeah, not easier said than done.
Yeah.
And also better not done.
It's not recommended. Girls Pint Out is not endorsing drinking and driving.
Neither does the Tap Takeover.
Sarcasm.
No one. Yeah.
There should be a lot of disclaimers in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get a joke, catch it, deal with it.
Hashtag sarcasm.
What about for you, Kelly? Beer that got you into craft beer?
So I'm a California girl, and my very first beer festival was in Northern California. And before that, the only craft beer that I liked was Delirium, which isn't a bad craft beer to like. It's a great craft beer to like. But before that, that's pretty much all I drank. And then I went to a beer festival and was able to try all sorts of different beer and realize that I can expand my palate, and I love all sorts of beer. And from there, I would try anything.
So how did you get involved with Girls Pint Out? So you came from the Texas chapter via California.
I did, yeah. So I moved from California to San Antonio, Texas. And luckily, within a month of moving there, I met some really great friends. They all loved craft beer. And somebody who I was friends with introduced me to Girls Pint Out in San Antonio. I became good friends with somebody who was running the chapter at the time. She's not anymore, but so I would go to Girls Pint Out events in San Antonio, and then when I told her I was moving to Milwaukee, she told me that Milwaukee Girls Pint Out had just started and that I should sign up for whatever events are going on. So I moved here on a Saturday, and Beer Yoga was going on Thursday, 4 days later. And so while I was living in Texas, I had already signed up for Beer Yoga and was ready to go. So within 4 days of moving here, I became friends with Maggie.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a good friendship. Let's be honest.
It has. Yeah, I think within the first week of living here, Maggie and I hung out 3 or 4 times.
Totally. So Beer Yoga was actually at Brenner when they had their Beer Yoga. We met there. We drank there a whole bunch. I think we both volunteered in packaging beer. And then probably within 2 weeks, I introduced her to Milwaukee Beer Society.
Week and a half, yeah.
Week and a half. It was a Wednesday. We both went, and I got fairly tipsy. I won't speak for her, but Milwaukee Beer Society always puts me under. And that's where she met her boyfriend. So it's been a good couple years.
Yeah, Maggie was a matchmaker.
Yep.
So Maggie introduced me to my friends and my boyfriend and Milwaukee Beer and Milwaukee Beer Society and Girls Pint Out. So I basically owe my whole Milwaukee life to
You're
Maggie.
welcome.
That's incredible to hear about a beer community that's, you know, a national organization where you guys can find each other like that. I mean, to be able to move to another community in the United States and immediately find friends through not just going to the bar and trying to find, like, you know, who are the cool people here, who are the not cool people, because every bar's got them, but to be able to find people that you can go out and hang out with first, you know, 4 days into town. That's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially once you get out of college and you move across country. I've moved across country 3 times, so I know that it's not that easy to meet friends if you're the new person in town and you're no longer in school. You just don't have an opportunity to meet people unless you join something like Girls Pint Out.
Awesome. So on our podcast, we like to encourage our brewers, when we do our brewery interview series, to kind of tell their brewery story through their beers and kind of take over the taps at the Tap Takeover Podcast. So I'm going to ask each of you, if you were to take over the taps and kind of tell your craft brew story, like how it kind of developed for you by kind of taking over our taps, what sort of beers would you choose to kind of tell that story?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it.
So I would say, so in college I drank almost exclusively Busch Light because you can have like 12 of them at the same time. And
Same time.
I mean, like right after one another, and still not throw
At
up,
the
or
same
maybe at the
time.
same time.
Pretty
Yeah,
big beer.
You had different
Right.
beer
It's
bong
possible.
technology than we did.
How do you
it's
do
possible.
this?
This behavior is
possible.
not endorsed by the Tap Takeover.
Been drinking is not
Yeah.
endorsed by Girls Pint Out.
Like I said, I went to a beer festival and then realized that I like different kinds of beer. So luckily I was living in San Diego and they have a lot of great breweries there and a lot of
They
great
don't
beer
suck.
bars,
Just
right?
kidding.
Yeah, I know. It's like, who are they? What's that? So I used to go to this beer bar called O'Brien's in San Diego. So if you're ever there, make sure you go there, as well as Hamilton's. 2 plugs. At O'Brien's, I learned I love Belgian beer, all Belgian beer. I still wasn't a fan of IPA. I felt like they were too flowery, just too much for me. But Belgian beer was where it was at, so I drank every single Belgian bear I could find.
So what year are we talking? What kind
That's going to reveal my age, so I'm not really cool with that.
There are no years.
Right? No, I would say maybe 10 years ago.
Okay, so like the really highly IBU IPAs is what
Right,
we're talking
because
about.
like all San Diego IPAs are, it's just punches you in the face with hops, right?
And 10 years ago was especially that
Right,
was the
yeah.
case,
So Ballast Point was really big in San Diego then. I mean, they're still big, but not the same as they were then
Yeah.
because they were one of the original true craft breweries there. Same with Stone and Green Flash. Those were kind of the 3 big ones. But I wasn't really into it, but the guy that I was with at the time was super into IPAs, so he would let me have sips every once in a while, and over time I started to love IPAs. And the West Coast is a great place to be if you love IPAs. I would say it started with Belgians and then moved to IPAs, and then moved to sours. So I lived by this really great sour bar. It was like a bar that focused on Belgians and sours. And the owner of the bar would be like, try this, try this, try this, until there was something I liked. And then by the end of living there, I think I had tried every single sour they had ever had on tap.
So could you pick a beer in each of those styles? What's your favorite Belgian, your favorite IPA, and your favorite
That's where
sour?
I get like,
Yeah, that's really hard.
It's tough.
So I'll go in reverse order. I don't really have a favorite sour. I'll try any sour. I like light sours, dark sours, sour IPAs, sour Belgians, anything sour, I'll try it. I love giving advice on trying sours because people will be like, I tried a sour and I hated it, it was so gross. And I'd be like, you need to drink 3 sips. It's just like drinking wine. You
or
have
IPAs.
or
IPAs.
IPAs, but like wine, you have to smell it and taste it, and then taste it again and taste it again, and then you know the true flavor. And sours are the exact same way. The first sip is always going to be the most sour, and then it kind of mellows out. So I like telling people that, and then they try it, and then they're on board. So I love getting people into the sour crew.
No, that's a good tip. Pro tip from
Yeah.
from Kelly.
Right. So I really honestly don't have a favorite sour. I would say, and of course I'm biased because I lived in California forever, but The brewery in Placentia, California has awesome sours. So if you're ever, I think you can get those at Discount Liquor in other places.
Another shout out.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, please.
Sorry. But they have awesome sours, so I'll drink anything. And same with McKellar, they have awesome sours. But anyway, moving on to IPAs. My favorite IPA, I'm such a jerk because I keep saying California breweries instead of Milwaukee. I also love Milwaukee breweries.
Just own
We
it.
don't know that about you.
Just own
but
it.
keep
You're
going.
good.
Yeah, hashtag sarcasm again. So my favorite IPAs right now are from Modern Times in San Diego. And then Belgian, I'm still going to go with Delirium Tremens. I feel like it's the best ever. You can't beat it. I've tried a million since, and I still love that one the best.
So, what's your opinion on the new hazy New England style IPAs? Then?
I'll try any IPA, and I love varieties, so I feel like black IPAs are awesome. I also like, I used to just be about West Coast IPA, but I feel like Wisconsin's coming out with some really awesome IPAs. I love the Lakefront IPA. So many good IPAs in Wisconsin now, too, so I won't ever turn down an IPA. I'll always try one.
So Maggie, how about you taking over our tabs at the Tap Takeover Podcast? What would you put on there?
So in no real order, I would definitely, as an homage to the beginning, I'm just going to bypass the amount of Rolling Rock that I drink as a 21-year-old with my super awesome air quotes,
This
and
was
go
two-
to
2 years ago,
312.
so-
Yeah, just 3 years ago. It's fine.
Yeah, you're good.
So I'll just skip Rolling Rock. So I would do 312, even though it's bought out. I would probably definitely throw up Great Lakes Elliott Ness. It's one of my favorite go-to beers in general. I always go back to it no matter where I'm at. I adore the Vienna lager style in general, and any kind of amber, I'm just kind of like, okay, you're okay. This is great. I have a huge fangirl crush on Omegang, and God, I hope I pronounce that correctly. They're in the baseball capital, and I adore baseball and beer, so it's really kind of the perfect thing. Hennepin would definitely find its way on my lineup. What else? I can never pronounce the brewery, but they're from Denmark, and they make a really dark beer called Danish Metal. You can buy it in a bottle at discount and stuff like that. It's like $10, but
Is that
it's
Milk?
I think it's
A-
Amager.
Amager. Okay, I didn't know how to pronounce that, so I just
Impressive.
don't. Yeah.
They actually made
High five for that.
the original Todd the Axeman.
What?
really?
I love Todd the Axeman.
Their version is 10 times better, and they created it as a homage to
I
Todd.
didn't know that Todd the Axeman was
So
a
also,
copy.
can we just talk about Todd from Surly, but now Three Floyds, how amazing he is? Anyways, Amager.
Amager.
Yeah, all right. And their Danish Metal is just so dark. You can't see through it, and it's good no matter what. It's a stout. I think it's actually an imperial stout. It's one of my favorites in my perfect little... Five Rabbit Cerveceria would find its way onto my tap list. I am a fairly huge fangirl of everything that they come out with. I'm trying to think of my favorite one. I would probably throw on a Paletas at this point.
I agree. It's my favorite one.
Guava, I think.
And that one. Both
or
very...
the passion fruit.
As summer is
passion
coming
fruit?
up, any of those would
Yeah.
be absolutely perfect
Yeah.
to drink in a hot summer day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, and it also balance out the Danish Metal and the Vienna lager that's also on tap. Yeah, stuff like that. Just little mementos. I first met Randy Mosier, who's part of Five Rabbit, at the Wisconsin, it was a beer festival that was put on just once at Harley Davidson, like a couple years ago.
I think they're having it again this year, too, aren't they? No?
Not to my knowledge. It was a whole magazine. It was Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine or Craft Brewing and Beer Magazine. I'm sorry. I don't know. Anyways, they put it on. It was a one-time thing from what I know. It was like 3 sessions, 2 or 3 days. It was very long. They brought up Jester King for that. It was amazing because they brought in other people. They had like panels and whole presentations. And so it was Stan, and I can never pronounce his last name right, but it starts with an H, and he wrote the Hops. He co-wrote the Hops book. Can't pronounce his last name, but he's a lovely gentleman. And then it was Randy Brad Smith, or Dr. Brad Smith, if you want to go formal. And I don't know, there was a fourth one. They were all very lovely, and they came by the booth. I was pouring Alaskan for my friend Megan, and we just started talking. We were talking about, cultures and put it into beer, and that's how I found out about Five Rabbit. I realized I had met Randy Mosier without realizing that I had met Randy Mosier. He gave me his card, and I looked down, and that's when you're like, the light bulb clicks. You're like, oh shit, we just spent like a half hour talking about culture and beer, and this is like what you do for a living. Cool, thanks, bye. So I just got in contact with him and kept in contact with him, and that's, yeah.
And we had a field trip
We did have a
Five
field trip.
Rabbit last year.
Yeah.
Which was really great.
It was just, we kept rolling the fangirlisms. Just, we had Andreas Aria and Randy Mosier, going through and explaining a whole flight to 51 Girls Pint Out members, not just from Milwaukee, but from 6 different states. We all converged on the south side of Chicago, and it couldn't have been better besides maybe a real vegetarian option from the taco cart guy at that point. We have
She's saying that because I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, it's all spiraled from there. Those are my 5 taps.
No, we appreciate it. Definitely, you ladies have a passion for beer. Before we take another little break to have a beer, because I'm thirsty.
You and me both.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, you have a passion for beer.
Right.
Organization's great. Do you still think there's a stigma for women having beer with an organization like Girls Pint Out? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. Huh?
I have something to say about that.
Okay. Well, I do. I work in the industry, and even like a couple weeks ago, I was told that it was cute. That's cute. You work in the industry. You sell beer. It's not fucking cute that I sell beer. It's a real job. Being a bus driver is a real job. The garbage man's a real job. I carry cases of fucking ladders on a weekly basis, and I haul cases around, and I stock shelves, and I merchandise just as much as I sit there on my stupid little iPad and enter in your orders. It's not all fun and games. I drive 450 miles a fucking week, and I love every fucking second of it because I get to sell beer. I love beer, so I get to talk about beer for a living. Yeah, there's totally a stigma. Though I will say, when I did talk to Deb Carey, I asked her, it's hard being a woman in the industry, which is like the worst question you could ever ask Deb Carey, by the way. Please don't ever ask her that question. I will just, fair warning, because she's going to tell you it's hard no matter what. And it absolutely is. It's not solely because, we have different genitalia than the other half.
Breaking news.
Hashtag breaking news. Some people have boobs. Who knew? It's hard. The beer industry is hard no matter what. People are jerks. Distributors will move stuff in your way, and you have to move it out, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't matter who you are. You still have to move all that crap and do your job well. But I do have a lot of accounts that are like, I really like buying beer from you because you're a lot easier to deal with than Knob 1 and Knob 2 that happen to be dudes. So there are those, which is nice.
Yeah, so being good at your job is
being good at your job is really the end. Is it? If you can be good at your job and do it well, and hopefully maybe sell brands that you like, which is like super dicey, it shouldn't be an issue. But you still get the assholes that are like, oh, that's cute, and like having a beer that you did yourself. Oh, there's pink on the label. It must be like a fruity beer, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
How about you, Kelly? Do you have any thoughts on the stigma, not against women drinking beer, but the stigma about women who drink beer?
I just think most people assume that women don't know much about beer and that it's a guy's thing. So they're surprised when I know about beer or have something to say about beer. Anybody that knows me well shouldn't be surprised that I have an opinion about anything. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people just assume that it's a guy's thing and that's what guys should do. Also, I told my dad feels that I drink too much craft beer, so he's like, you really need to stop checking into all these breweries on Facebook. People are going to think you're an alcoholic. I'm like, I just have flights, Dad, and then I go home. It's fine.
Plus, there's a lot of breweries popping up. So
Yeah, of course,
can't
and I'm not
complain for
ashamed
that.
of it. It's fine.
Okay, I think this is a good time to take a break. We're going to take a break, do some beer news. We're going to come back to a tasting of the collaboration beer between Girls Pint Out and friend of the show, Mobcraft. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Woo-woo.
That's right.
Welcome to the Tap Takeover Podcast, Beer News. This episode's featured beer is Motto by Good City. Motto is a mosaic American pale ale that is also a smash ale, which stands for single malt and single hop. This beer will tease your nose with a floral bouquet that gives way to a taste of resinous tropical pine flavors. In our opinion, it's a perfect summer beer for grilling out, hanging by the lake, or sitting by the fire at night. The best part is, unlike most of the beers we rave about, this one is readily available in 6-packs at either discount or Raise Liquor. Make sure to give this one a try. In general craft craft beer news, we had a major announcement from the Brewers Association. In an effort to educate beer lovers about which beers are independently produced, the Brewers Association, the not-for-profit trade group dedicated to promoting and protecting America's small and independent craft brewers, launched a new seal touting independent craft brewers. Featuring an iconic beer bottle shape flipped upside down, the seal captures the spirit which the craft brewers have upended beer while informing beer lovers they are choosing a beer from a brewery that is independently owned. These breweries run their businesses free of influence from other alcohol beverage companies which are not themselves craft brewers. Independence is a hallmark of the craft brewing industry, and it matters to the brewers who make the beer and the beer lovers who drink it. A recent study commissioned by the Brewbound and conducted by Nielsen found that independent and independently owned strongly resonate with the majority of craft beer drinkers. Increasingly, they are looking for a differentiation between what's being produced by small and independent craft brewers versus big beer and acquired brands. Beer drinkers, especially millennials, expect transparency when it comes to their food and beverages. That transparency and underlying ownership can drive their purchase intent. This seal is available for use free of charge by any of the more than 5,300 small and independent American craft brewers that have a valid TTP brewer's notice. Meet the BA's craft brewer definition and sign a license agreement. It is available to both member and non-member breweries of the Brewers Association. In the coming weeks, months, and years, beer lovers will see it on beer packaging at retailers and in brewery communications and marketing materials. In new beers this month, in our distribution area, Stone dropped 2 new IPAs on us. The first one is called Ghost Hammer. From the dark recesses of the brewery emerges a new unfiltered IPA brewed with laurel hops. In tribute to the overnight Stone Brew Crew, this canned specialty seasonal makes an ethereal appearance with a floral, lemony, and tropical explosion. The name Stone Ghost Hammer refers to the occasional creaking and knocking of pipes in the brewery, which are especially noticeable during the quieter overnight brewing shifts. Our quest for using new and different hops never ends, says Jeremy Moyner, Senior Innovation Brewing Manager for Stone. Ghost Hammer is our latest beer to highlight innovation in the hop world with a newer hop called Laurel, which is named by combining the words lemon and floral as a nod to the strong lemony notes and intense floral aroma. Additionally, Laurel has some classic European noble hop qualities, making it overall a very unique and exciting hop. This one clocks in at 6.7% alcohol with 56 IBUs. It should be available on your store shelves now. Also, Stone put a twist on Ruination, their triple IPA, adding orange peel and vanilla bean to it. Loud, aggressive, and quite eccentric, this mega hop success is not one to hold back. Stone Ruin 10 triple IPA earned a rabid following of hopheads clamoring for its return each year. With an avant-garde amplification to the classic Stone Ruination IPA, this triple IPA includes 2 new ingredients of orange peel and vanilla bean to achieve its sweet jam session of flavor. With hops in overdrive, not just in the boil, the result is pure magic. It has an appearance of deep gold with an off-white fluffy head. Orange and vanilla explode throughout with a nice dankness underneath, and hop aromas of lemon, nectarine, pineapple, and tropical fruit make this beer a winner. In festival news, Christmas is always in July for the TTP crew, and that's because of Firkenfest. Our favorite Milwaukee festival is on Saturday, July 22nd. You can find the Tap Takeover Podcast crew at Cathedral Square at 3 p.m. for VIP, and throughout the festival enjoying all the rare firkins and talking beer to whoever will listen. We also received some insider info from Matt at D14 that this year, for the first time, all the Milwaukee Craft Brewery League member breweries will be grouped in one tent that'll be centrally located on the festival grounds. On Saturday, July 29th is Milwaukee Beer Fest at the lakefront. Enjoy some great beers and enjoy the scenic environment right next to Lake Michigan. Saturday, August 12th in Madison is one of the best beer festivals in the Midwest. This iconic festival features the best of the best Midwest breweries who all bring their tastiest and also hardest to obtain beers. People camp out to purchase hard copy tickets to this one, folks, and the mail-in ticket lottery only gets you about a 10% chance of getting tickets. Great Taste Eve has also become an event upon itself, with almost every bar hosting a tap takeover. For 2 days in August, Madison, Wisconsin becomes a mecca to beer lovers everywhere, and people travel from all over the country to attend. If you are some of the lucky ones who got tickets, say hi to Alex, Andy, or Jim if you see us in our Tap Takeover podcast gear. If you still need tickets, we have heard stories about them being sparsely available at some of the tap takeovers, or folks selling extras in line right before the event. And this has been Beer News.
That's right.
Thanks for another exciting beer news. Now we've got a special treat for our listeners. We're going to try the Girl Grey IPA, a collaboration beer between the ladies and Mobcraft beer.
Just tell us about the beer.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers first. Girl Grey IPA was born first between Henry and his love of thinking big and mine. So he was like, oh, we did a pairing for Milwaukee Girls Pint Out of ice cream and beer at Mobcraft. And I was like, okay, maybe like 30 people. And he was like, no, like 100. And I was like, okay, I love you, Henry, but like, I need you to think about, like, if I can't sell 100 tickets, you can't be like mad at me, you know? We sold out in 3 days. He was right. Yep. Henry, there you go. It's on record. So we sold out in 3 days. Had this amazing, I think it was like 4 or 5 beers and 4 or 5 ice creams from Babe's Ice Cream. Yep, totally dropping that because she's amazing.
Including vegan ice cream.
So there was soy, and I try to incorporate that because I knew, me personally isn't always dairy friendly, and then like I know other people that were going to be there weren't always dairy friendly. So we did that. It was fucking epic, to say the least. And he was like, we should do a Milwaukee Girls Pint Out beer. And I'm like, I got your big idea. Let's do a national Girls Pint Out beer. Yeah, one up you like you one up me, the 100 people. So we did. We went balls to the wall with the 90 plus chapters that we had. We had 70 recipes submitted. It came down to 30 different chapters that submitted recipes, which I feel like is amazing that even 30 chapters submitted recipes. And I submitted my own for Milwaukee Girls Pint Out, and I didn't tell the girls that I had done it because I wanted them to submit it on basis of, was this a beer that you would drink? Is this something you want? My recipe made it through to the top, I think 7 or 8, but Larissa from our DC chapter had the idea for the Girl Grey. So it's Earl Grey tea done with, I think she has 4 different hops: Sterling, CTZ, Nugget, and El Dorado. The Earl Grey done in the second fermentation. So we were like, sure, why not? It got voted on nationally. This is it. This is what we're doing. And Mobcraft flew her out there for the weekend, which was a lot of fun and very long and very intoxicated.
And actually, that's really interesting because when we did our interview with Henry, he talked about how he had just flown, when we were doing this, had just flown somebody out from Washington to do a beer.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that was the Girls Pint Out Girl Grey IPA that he was brewing.
It was Larissa.
Awesome.
And that was something we kind of set up, that the winner would be able to come and spend a weekend in Milwaukee kind of on Mobcraft, which he doesn't normally do for all the winners, though they are welcome to join in the brewing. This one was kind of like a prize to be won, which I think kind of getting your beer on, beer brewed is kind of a prize to be won, but like he upped the ante as he always does. So yeah, she came out for the weekend with her boyfriend or husband, and we took her to lakefront, of course, because that's what you do, and took her all over the city. Girl Grey was born, and I had really gotten this like bug about, I want to design the beer label. Like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, you're really not gonna do this, it's fine. And Kayla goes, hey, we need this like 3 days ago. Can you design a beer label? No, I can't, is the short answer about that. Pretty much just took the day. I knew I wanted it like a pattern in the back. And we had to have the Girls Pint Out logo because what else do you do for a Girls Pint Out beer that's never been nationally distributed and never been done before? You throw a fucking Girls Pint Out logo on it. And we had to have her beer title, as one does, because that's what you do with beer. I knew I wanted this fairly, not basic pattern, but I wanted something in the background. I didn't want to take away from the logo or the name. And also the green and the pink was very Lily Pulitzer for me and flashbacks to my grandmother, so I tried to pull away from that as well. Ugh, nightmares. So,
Very deep.
Sorry, went a lot deeper. My grandmother was my grandmother. And so, anyways, the pattern of the can is a hop cone, as you would think an IPA would be. And then it's gray. It's not full on black. You can still notice the texture of the hop cone. Not all the hops are gray. Not all the hops are green. It's there. but you have to like fully think about it. I didn't know what the beer was going to turn out like because I had never had it. Larissa, this is her idea, this is her baby, and damn, she pulled it off. This beer ended up being in the Washington Post. It ended up being part of Food and Wine as breakfast beers, listed along Dogfish Head, which I will have to fucking admit was a little dust off my shoulder since Sam just pulled off a James Beard Award, so there's hope for the rest of us. It's one of my favorite beers, and I will say my mom's a fan because...
Of course she is.
Not just because she's my mom, but she actually really likes the beer, even though she doesn't like IPAs. She's very much a Scotch ale girl. Like, she's like, the darker the better. And
shout out to Beverly.
Hashtag Beverly Skinner. I have literally shipped this beer, which I probably shouldn't publicly admit because I'm going to get a lawsuit from UPS any day now at this point, that this is shipped from everywhere from Hawaii to Texas to California, Washington State, all the way to Maine. Girls have been requesting it through our chapter, and I've been sending 4-packs fucking everywhere.
Is it still available anywhere, Mags?
There are like 3 cases, but that was like a week or 2 ago.
But like in your house?
So I have a couple cases in my house.
Personally visit Maggie
Yeah,
Skinner.
it's been a while since I've been in your
Just
house.
come to Bayview. No, just kidding. Please don't do that. Don't
knock
find
on my
me.
door.
Where can we find the beer still?
So I know I see it in Woodman's in Waukesha. I see it in Woodman's in Menominee Falls. I've seen it in Discount Liquor Waukesha. I find it there. But last time I checked, a couple weeks ago, there were only 3 cases in backstock in the warehouse. So you're on the verge of selling out, which is so great for us, considering it was a 30-barrel batch. And that's a lot of fucking cans. So cheers.
It's a good national notoriety from it, too. Right?
Yeah, it was in Washington Post. That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, when your beer of the week, and it doesn't mention me in the article, which is absolutely fine, because though I was there to brew, it's not my recipe. It was, my label, and that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's what you're drinking. So props to Larissa and the DC chapter. It was an amazing beer, and the Mobcraft team. Andrew definitely knows what he's doing. We're so grateful, and we hope to keep doing it annually. And I hope to keep designing labels because it's a lot of fun.
Props to Larissa, but
hard and
at the
weird
same time, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
To give you some props for creating an amazing label and a really sellable label, because a lot of times that's why people buy beer. It's
Absolutely.
because there's a visual aspect to it, there's a story behind it sometimes, and that's the romanticism, and then there's the actual flavor of the beer. So it works hand in hand. So you were definitely a big part of why Girl Grey IPA has been such a big success for Mobcraft. So congratulations.
If someone's lucky enough to get one of the few remaining cans, or they were smart enough to get some already, what would they be tasting? What does the Earl Grey edition add to an IPA?
So I don't think you're gonna. I mean, for me personally, when I first had it, it doesn't come off as like a 7 or 8% of whatever it's listed. It doesn't come off that way. Comes off way stronger than you think it is, or maybe it's just my empty stomach. I really can't tell just yet. So I'll keep drinking. You're like, oh crap, there are 4 different hops in here. This is going to be, blow your face off, green flash hoppy, or like if you want hoppy and in your face, you show up to Green Flash, and expect to get blown away, or Stone, or the West Coast hop. It's definitely not Rip. Kelly, chill out.
As an IPA lover, as a hop forward person,
Right.
I love this beer. I do think that the hops are forward, but also so is the tea.
Absolutely.
And it's very balanced. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I feel like non-West Coast IPAs cannot have enough hops for me personally. And this beer has the perfect balance. And specialty beer is sometimes iffy. A recipe is good in theory, but sometimes in execution it kind of can fall flat. And this beer is awesome. I'll drink this beer all day, every day. And it's not just because I'm a Girls Pint Out member. It's because it's really that good. And on top of that, I'm super proud that it's a Girls Pint Out beer. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is fantastic. I mean, the the hops really are forward, but there's that undercurrent. There's that second level of flavor that's backed up with
Absolutely.
cuts the
tea.
bitterness of it, so
Absolutely.
they mellow out on your tongue. For
I
sure.
agree. It's not that floral, but it's got the tea to balance it out. It's excellent.
So did you talk with Larissa and talk about what she was kind of going for with the beer? Is that exactly what she was trying to hit?
So for her, this is an absolute success. I don't think the few times that she brewed it was, home brewed it rather, was a success. So she was like, let's try it again. And she was so instrumental to the whole process. Like, her and Andrew sat down and was like, what do you want your temps to be? And what every little detail, every nerdy brewer detail that I can't even fathom.
That's awesome.
Was her and Andrew. And doing this and making this happen. And there are a lot of us that were standing back like, I don't even know what they're talking about right now. But we were so interested, and, what does that mean? What are you doing? And it was hardcore collaborative. So I'm really proud of her, obviously for not making the beer a success, but just her in general and her spirit to keep trying and to kind of go out of the box, because not everybody likes tea. And that's one thing that we've had is like, has tea, or that has a pink logo.
Yeah, but I feel like even
or
if
that's
you don't
too
like
hoppy.
tea, you still like this
and
beer.
even people who don't like IPAs, like my mother, like other people at beer festivals that have had it, they're like, I'm like, take 3 sips. If you still hate it, I will figure out a way to pay you back for drinking it. But if you like it and after 3 sips, then shut your freaking pie hole and drink
I
it.
agree with you. I'm not
So-
a fan of tea at all, and I
Maggie
really,
is
really
on-
enjoy this beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, a gateway drug into IPAs, if you will.
Yes.
So,
yes, that's a good way to put it.
So, are there any plans to do this sort of collaboration, the sort of Girls Pint Out contest on a yearly basis? Is this going to be an annual thing?
I think Mobcraft is really amped by the success that they've seen by working with us, that they're like, yeah, we'll do it again. Are you serious? Like, we just got put into Washington Post. They distributed it to the DC area. They had events, tap takeovers, all sorts of stuff where their actual, sales force went out to DC to even help rep these events with the Girls Pint Out chapter. So I think overall the success has equaled probably another beer in the future. And my goal personally is just to keep designing the label because it's a lot of fun. So,
And I would say, just to speak for, the fact that Mobcraft is a part of this, the thing that I love about Mobcraft is that they're constantly trying new formulas and they're constantly trying new recipes. So that's what I love about Mobcraft.
yeah, I like their big ideas and the people behind Mobcraft. Even if you're like, I didn't like this one or I didn't like that one, it's like, try again. They're wonderful people.
Exactly.
Their whole Existence series, which is completely outside Girls Pint Out, is freaking amazing. And Adam and Andrew and everybody knows what they're doing and they do it well. And to really believe in the people and then come together and make a really amazing beer is even more, it's like even better, It's like the icing to the cake.
Well, yeah, we'd love to hear more about Mobcraft, and we here at the Tap Takeover Podcast would love to see this become an annual thing.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you have the opportunity to buy some Girls Pint Out Girl Grey IPA, please make sure to do it because you're supporting an amazing organization. So, Jesus, I think you had a couple more questions about Maggie's beer project and what she's doing with Shepherd Express.
Yeah, during our break, had a refill on beers, and you said you had a beer that you helped brew on tap right now at Sugar Maple?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, on top of running Girls Pint Out, because I'm apparently really bored, I run the Wisconsin chapter of the Pink Boot Society. So that's women in the beer industry that get together and are supposed to inspire and support and help educate each other. So you can get scholarships through there or find other jobs throughout the globe because it's an international nonprofit. It shouldn't just be we, everybody. Pink Boots as a whole did an Big Boots Brew Day. So they take off International Women's Day, which is March 8th, and brew beer, which is freaking amazing because it's a lot of fun. And it was fun to take off work, grab my pink boots, and head to Sand Creek Brewing in Black River Falls, where there was probably a group of 10 plus of us. There was Rochelle from Wisconsin Brewing Company, Ashley from Capital Brewing, Jamie from Moose Jaw, a bunch of other women from Sand Creek and Bill's Distributing. All of us came together to brew this historic strong ale with blackstrap molasses, and we just had fun. We drank a bunch of beer, we ate a bunch of pizza, we brewed a bunch of, just hung out and got to know each other better, got to know Sand Creek better. And I will say that the owners of Sand Creek were very welcoming, not just because they didn't tell me to, but because it's truly what they were. They were so welcoming. They've given so much. All the ingredients were donated to us, which is absolutely amazing. And then all the keg proceeds go back to Pink Boots Society. So if you see a Pink Boots tap handle that says Big Brutes 2017, you will find our strong ale.
It's delicious, by the way.
I think so, but I might be.
And I'm not part of Big Pink Boots Society, but I think it's delicious.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. So before we get into our last question, we want to know a little bit about what do you do, like Shepherd Express? What is your role there?
What don't I do? So I write Girl Meets Beer, which I haven't written for in a while. I've been a little busy since I work in the industry, and I went from a supplier rep to a distributor rep. Just dealing with all that and running Girls Pint Out and handling Pink Boots. I've been a little busy to write. So I do have some stuff coming up that hopefully will give insight to places that beer reps like to drink, or things that, like we find the $2 off or $3 off, and all the perfect happy hours that last a little longer in certain places, or everything maybe outside of Milwaukee, places that you like to drink. But that, and also I'm not going to do reviews on the new breweries coming out. I just don't think it's fair. I think there are enough people doing them. So you don't need my review on Broken Bat. You'll survive. You don't need my review on whatever else brewery is going to come out. So
we took care of Eagle Park for you guys.
And the Eagle Park guys, there's that Imperial Brown, I think oatmeal brown that they do, that I just straight up fangirled over, to be super honest, as a beer nerd.
On the Tap Takeover podcast, we always love to ask our folks what sort of beers they have in their cellars. Are you guys aging anything? Do you guys get into that? What are your thoughts on aging beers?
I have barrel aged. I have bourbon, barrel aged beers for sure.
Any whales down there? Anything you wanna brag
about?
Well,
mostly it's that I have too much beer for a person to possibly drink. Yeah, like I have a separate fridge just for my beer, and it's too much for a person to possibly drink in a short amount of time. I don't think I'm intentionally aging anything, but I probably have like 30 to 40 bottles of Bombers that I'm like eventually going to try to get through, plus maybe like 7 6-packs, but nothing intentionally. 7.
Jesus.
Yeah. And some Capri Sun in there randomly.
You shouldn't age Capri Sun. DT does.
Let's give Sugar Maple a huge shout out for
Absolutely.
in the back room.
Absolutely.
Cheers to
Adrian.
Adrian and Rob, the Sugar Maple, for sure.
Where every day is Milwaukee Beer Week.
So my last question is, if you could educate our listeners about women in the craft beer industry, if you could each tell us 2 women, in your opinions, that are doing a great thing in the craft beer industry right now.
I would definitely say Deb Carey, because New Glarus Brewing Company is notorious in Wisconsin, and I don't think that a lot of people in Wisconsin know the New Glarus Brewing Company is run by a woman, but she's an absolute rock star. And she's definitely an idol for me. Just to give a shout out to Sugar Maple, I'll give it to Adrian, because
that's a solid vote.
Yeah, because she's the owner of Sugar Maple, where we're doing this podcast. This is one of the best beer bars in all of Milwaukee, and Milwaukee's known for beer. And the fact that it's run by a woman and run really well, and everybody loves this bar, I feel like she's an inspiration to us all.
Absolutely. I will second Deb Carey for sure, and that's not to put Adrian on the short list at all. She's absolutely 100% amazing, but for women in beer, my vote goes to Deb Carey, which that's maybe just me being a fangirl. She has struggled and gone through so much as a person in beer, and starting it with Dan, and really just kind of putting everything on the line. Her kids, her reputation, her career, her livelihood. I mean, trying to raise 2 kids and a struggling brewery when everything's kind of against you from the start is just something that really speaks to me personally as a single mom.
There's an awesome documentary if nobody's ever seen it. It's Tale of a Spotted Cow.
Yeah.
Tale of a Spotted Cow, and it's an awesome documentary. So I definitely recommend everybody see it. And it was a Girls Pint Out event that we saw that documentary, but it totally opened my eyes to Deb Carey and New Glarus and gave me so much information that I didn't know otherwise.
Well, for me, I sat down for an hour with her and interviewed her for Girl Meets Beer, and then we went and had lunch in the New Glarus Beer Garden and talked very candidly about being a woman in beer and where I was in the industry, and kind of like, she looked at me like, why are you taking their shit? And I was like, yeah, I don't know, like, why was I taking their shit? And she just really opened my eyes, and she's absolutely amazing. And then my other vote, this is not because she runs Pink Boot Society as the president of an international organization, but it's to Laura. Laura is a brewer at Stone Brewing, and she is the president of Pink Boots, and her as a human, her as a being are phenomenal. She's very supportive. It doesn't matter if you live in Wisconsin or crooks of wherever, Delaware, it doesn't matter. She is there to support you as a whole and be there as a guiding light. She's just kicking ass and taking names left and right.
As we wrap up here, since we're somehow all out of beer, what words of encouragement would you give the women who are interested in getting more involved in craft beer?
For me, if you're just a woman who likes craft beer, just go for it. Just join Girls Pint Out, come hang out with us. I don't care if you do Girls Pint Out or Barley's Angels or Milwaukee Beer Society or all 3 of them. Whatever works for you. Just try it. I will welcome you with open arms, even if your go-to beer is Blue Moon. I don't care. Just come. Hang out with us. You will experience different beers, experience other really cool women, and get to do really fun events. As a woman who wants to break into the industry, you have to swallow all of your things that are telling you no and just go do it. You have to jump. I cut my salary in half to work in the beer industry, though my son is not very happy about it because I buy him less shit. I'm very happy about it. We have less shit in our house, but I am a happier person, and I'm definitely a better mom for it. So jump, do it. If that's the thing you want, if that's the thing you're after, if that's the thing that makes you happy, go to those events, stay late, meet those people, shake those hands. It seems pointless. Just fucking do it.
Yeah, I would say as far as Girls Pint Out goes, we have events every single month. And even if you already have your established friend base, there's always new people to meet and new experiences to have. It's awesome to be able to go tour breweries or learn about glassware or learn about what kind of cheeses to pair with your beer or whatever it might
donuts.
be. Or donuts. Right. So I feel like there's always something to learn, no matter what. Even if you're new to craft beer or you're a craft beer aficionado, there's something to learn by Girls Pint Out. Girls Pint Out has taught me more about beer than any other organization or any other experience. And I've been to this is probably embarrassing to say, but probably hundreds of beer festivals. I'm part of Milwaukee Beer Society. I'm part of Girls Pint Out. I'm part of a lot of different groups. And I think that Girls Pint Out has taught me more about what beer is about, what breweries are about, what is available to me in the community. And I feel like that is where I found most of my friends in the city. So I feel like Girls Pint Out, whether you're in Milwaukee or you're in another city, is the best resource if you're looking to connect and learn about beer.
And you shouldn't be ashamed of those. Going to beer fest and that kind of thing, it's not like you're going there just to get drunk. You're going there to experience as many beers as you can possibly experience, all sorts of different flavors and different styles. It really is about supporting the industry. So we want to make that point on the Tap Takeover podcast, that we're really trying to broaden our horizons and really get out there into the beer industry.
Apologize for nothing.
Okay.
And absolutely. I'm just going to second the apologize for
Pro
nothing.
tip from Jim Anderson.
Pro tip.
Apologize for nothing.
Hashtag pro tip.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down with us. This has been a fantastic event, and
thanks for having us.
I hope
you.
our listeners enjoy hearing some of the crowd noise here at the Sugar Maple. We've really had a fun time. For me, for Alex,
Jesus,
Jim,
Andy?
Maggie.
Kelly.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you guys, and cheers.
Cheers.
This has been a solid non-fail podcast.
He said there's no